So obviously the biggest news story going on in America right now that no one can take their eyes off is what's happening in Ferguson, Missouri.
And of course, one of the most shared videos this morning was from John Oliver's Last Week Tonight.
There are so many unanswered questions regarding why an officer would shoot an unarmed teenager. The police have handled everything since then terribly.
For some of you who may not be following the story, here's a little recap.
A young black man named Michael Brown was shot by police in the city of Ferguson, Missouri, which has then sparked a series of protests.
Heavily armed St. Louis County police officers have responded using controversial anti-riot techniques, including tear gas.
Plus, there have been repeated attempts to silence or block reporters and TV from covering the event at all, which has caused something of a media blackout.
Police have also released footage of Michael Brown shoplifting cigars from before his encounter with police.
They're trying to say, you know, this is why police were after him or were looking for him, but we've since found out that's not true. The two things are totally disconnected.
And after several days, the police have actually finally released the name of the white police officer who shot and killed Brown, 28-year-old Darren Wilson.
And just recently, we've gotten a look at the Brown autopsy results as well, which reveal he was shot 6 times, including once in the top of the head.
Wow.
Seems inconsistent with evading arrest from the police or whatever they're accusing him of. So today, the National Guard is actually coming to Ferguson to help take control of the situation on orders from Missouri Governor Jay Nixon. This is largely as a result of the police who have cited pre-planned acts of aggression from protesters. They're claiming that they're being shot at, that they're having Molotov cocktails thrown at them, and that businesses are actively being looted, although a lot of the people and the reporters on the ground and witnesses are contrasting and arguing with some of those details.
But as you can see from John Oliver's video, he really talks about and focuses on the militarization of police officers.
Right. Well, I mean, I think everybody's trying to look at what could cause a situation like this and how could it get so out of hand so quickly. I mean, when you look at some of this footage, it doesn't really feel like an appropriate or proportional response to these protests. And it makes people ask a fundamental question, which is, what is the job of police? Like, what are the police there for? Because I think most of us would think the police are there to protect the protesters, the citizens of Ferguson who are upset and exercising their legal right to assembly. Instead, it looks like they are protecting the government or the police force from protest, which is not what police are supposed to be out there to do.
And to just exert their power.
So I think one thing that we could take away from this whole thing and what we've been following is the social media response to what's been happening in Ferguson.
There's been live streams, Vice News has been called out a lot, and that's really how we're getting the information.
And you're not getting real-time news so much from MSNBC or CNN. Yeah. You're sort of relying more on citizen journalists to kind of pick up the slack on the front line where all of this is happening. And you've seen some things on these live streams that you would never see on television. A key moment for people watching from home, Mustafa Hussein, who was a student who was working for the volunteer station Argus Radio, he was directly threatened on camera by a police officer.
Get the f*** out of here! You keep that right up, or you're getting shot with this!
He did not turn off the camera and continued shooting, but seeing that at home, that has a massive impact on how people are perceiving this story. Lastly, this has really demonstrated the differences, I think, from a lot of these different social networks and a lot of these different sites people are using. While Twitter was totally dominated by Ferguson this week, especially like last night when it really becomes heated and these protesters are squaring off against police, Twitter becomes such an essential news source, whereas Facebook, that was still being dominated by ice bucket challenges and all of these other things that we don't really think of as being real time. So I think Twitter is starting to emerge as a vital real-time news source for content, whereas Facebook is more of a traditional social network.
So how have you been following what's going on in Ferguson?
Yeah, what sites are you looking at? What are you sharing around it? And do you feel like you should be sharing this stuff even if you're not in Ferguson or directly involved in what's happening?
Let us know in the comments below. We really want to hear from you on this topic and story. It's an important one. And of course, subscribe to What's Trending for more of the best of YouTube and social media every day.